From October to December 2017, HHS called 7,635 children the agency had placed with sponsors and found 6,075 of the children were still living with their sponsors. 28 had run away, 5 had been deported, and 52 were living with someone else. The rest were missing, said Stephen Wagner, acting assistant secretary at HHS. Missing! Some of y'all thought I was joking about Joe Biden being the human trafficking president that he is. Well, I wasn't. I wish I was. Welcome, cartel members. My name is Julio Hawkes, and I am the Theorizing Theorist. And today we're going to be going over a couple of things. The minors at the border being one of them. Now, Citizen Man is giving me an opportunity to reach out to his audience as well. So I'm going to take a couple of extra seconds to do a channel recognition or channel identification, whatever. But I'm going to say that towards the end. But for now, we're going to focus on these children. A surge of unaccompanied minors at border poses challenge of Biden administration. So if you haven't heard, there's 7,000 children from February, just 1 month, and I think it's 13,000 predicted for this month of unaccompanied minors crossing into the United States. Now, there's videos of these coyotes that look like moms with 80 kids walking across the border, and it's insane to think that nearly 500 children arrive each day. And it's actually more than that when we get into the details, and you're going to see. I just want to give you the headlines and bring attention to the main headline I wanted to bring attention to, which was the Biden being the king human trafficker. I wonder, well, let's just continue. Number of unaccompanied minors entering U.S. soared in February. This is from Vanessa Romo, March 11, 2021. But again, there's two conflicting theories, and I'm sure you guys don't even know what I'm talking about because my videos have been getting deleted. But one theory is that Trump's running the show and has his hand up Biden, and he's using him as a puppet. And the other is Trump's running a counter shadow presidency of sorts against Biden. But if Biden's running the show, these kids are in trouble. If Trump's really running the show, he just saved these kids from certain doom. So U.S. Customs and Border Protection released the latest statistics on Wednesday showing agents encountered nearly 3,500 migrants a day during February. Joe Biden is the human trafficking president. So these are articles that are being headlines, and they're I think they're talking to the coyotes, letting them know that it's okay to bring them over. I think that's the Trump admin working through Biden as a puppet by proxy. So anyway, the number of asylum-seeking migrants, including unaccompanied minors, crossing the southwest border into the U.S. is soaring, leaving the Biden administration scrambling to find appropriate care and housing for thousands of children. U.S. Customs and Border Protection released the latest statistics on Wednesday, showing agents encountered 3,500 migrants a day during February 2021, a 28% increase over January. Among them, the number of children and families seeking to enter the U.S. more than doubled in the same period, and the number of unaccompanied minors from Central America also rose 60% over January to more than 9,400. Where are all these kids coming from is what I want to know. And one of the theories is that these cartels were hiding them on the border, waiting for Trump to get out of the way so they can finally bring them over. And that's why we have a huge influx of all these minors with no parents, missing children. In February, CBP encountered 100,441 persons attempting entry along the southwest border. This is a 28% increase over January. And here are some of the statistics, and I want you to see that big old jump. That's all children. That's all children. Trump had it kind of leveled out, and you can't stop them all, and they're good at what they do. These cartels and these deep state swamp rats and these freaks, They're good at what they do. They're good at hiding it, and right now they're blatant because they got Biden in office. But I wonder if that isn't part of the plan. Are they tricking the deep state, and are we not blowing the cover now? I don't think so, but just one theory of why my videos are getting shut down by NBC, ABC, Warner Brothers Media. So anyway, the recent influx of migrants has been rising since April 2020 due to ongoing violence, natural disasters, food insecurity, and poverty in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, officials said. Now, I think this is all they create these situations over there to have these children available in this situation. So the sharp increases of minors has left CBP clamoring to move children quickly from detention in crude Border Patrol holding cells to temporary shelters appropriate for adolescents. Our goal is to ensure that CBP has the continued capability to efficiently transfer unaccompanied children to Department of Health and Human Services, Child Protective Services, as quickly as possible, consistent with legal requirements and the best interest of the children, CBP said in a statement. Now, I promise you, the best interest of the children would probably be to find the damn parents, but it seems like we gave up on all that. We're not even going to try. The Biden administration is mobilizing the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, which is known for responding to natural disasters and other crises, to support an effort over the next 90 days to process the growing number of unaccompanied migrant children arriving at the U.S. southern border. The Department of Homeland Security, and this guy is a doozy, the leader of this, we're going to talk more about him in a second, said in a statement Saturday evening that the federal government is working to move unaccompanied children from U.S. Customs and Border Protection to the Department of Health and Human Services and place them with a family member or sponsor until their immigration is adjudicated. As NPR's Franco Ordonez and John Burnett reported Thursday, a record number of minors are being held in warehouse-like detention facilities run by Customs and Border Protection as the number of children arriving at the border without parents, I'm assuming it's going to say, give it a second here, their parents grow faster than the Biden administration is able to transfer them. So again, they're funneling them all into the Child Protective Services, the foster care system, right? And we all know how that works. I am incredibly proud of the agents of the Border Patrol who have been working around the clock in difficult circumstances to take care of children temporarily in our care. Now, you're going to find out it isn't so temporary. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and this is the guy I'm talking about, said in Saturday's statement, "Yet, as I have said many times, a Border Patrol facility is no place for a child." You know, where is a place for a child? With their parents, Alejandro Mayorkas. But he's a professional child kidnapper, and you're going to see that here in a second. He's like the professional. He's the main guy, the mero mero, and I think that's why they're using him to kind of signal to the cartels that doors are open. The Biden administration has been rolling back various immigration measures implemented by former President Donald Trump, including terminating a 2018 agreement between DHS and HHS that encouraged child welfare officers to share personal information about potential sponsors for unaccompanied children with immigration enforcement agents. So they were ratting out the parents, and Trump ended that so that way the kids could stay with their parents. At the same time, the administration is grappling with surging numbers of migrants arriving at the border, especially children without guardians. And by without guardians, sometimes they strip these kids because they say, well, you're not a good enough parent. We got better parents over here in the U.S. Mayorkas said addressing the needs of unaccompanied children is made more challenging because of the ongoing public health crisis. He added, as a result of the public health imperative, adults and accompanied children are subject to COVID-19 related travel restrictions and are returned to, well, I must have missed that part. So anyway, he added, as a result of the public health imperative and adults, related are returned to Mexico under the statutory authority of the CDC. But they don't ever let them get that back. Press Secretary Jen Psaki has said the White House is working to increase the number of HHS facilities where children can be housed that follow CDC guidelines. And you're going to see that these elite be paying them visits. As with nearly everything in Washington, D.C., reaction to the situation at the southern border falls along political fault lines. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy of California has laid blame at the feet of the Biden administration and plans to lead a delegation of 12 Republican lawmakers to visit the border on Monday. So everybody better keep an eye on these 12 Republican lawmakers. I don't trust them either at this point. But maybe Trump's already all over it. He's watching them already, the military at least. So Alejandro Mayorkas. This guy is a gem. Now, somebody gave me a tip saying to check out, look for names, familiar names, and I'm not sure if this is the man they're talking about, but this is the person that I found, and this is the person I want to bring front and center and highlight. It doesn't look good for the children, but again, I think that if it's the military, they're trying to signal to the cartels and the coyotes and the traffickers over there that, hey, business is back up and running as normal. Please bring us your children that you had hid in the past 4 years. And that's how Trump is able to lure out these, coyotes with these beautiful children and save them, hopefully, in my opinion. Or it could be the other way around, and Biden is just showing the cartel members, hey, we're back in business, baby. So hopefully it's not that one, and I like to think that it's the other one. So you see here, he's an American lawyer and government official, okay, and he's the head of the Department of U.S. Of Homeland Security. And he was first as director of citizenship. Well, there's all of his stats, but pretty much you're going to see who he was appointed to, or who he was appointed by, and what he was doing, and why I call him a professional child abductor. He was born in Havana, Cuba. His family fled shortly after the Cuban Revolution to Florida and later settled in California. After law school, Mayorkas worked as an assistant United States attorney and was appointed the United States attorney for the Central District of California in Los Angeles during the administration of President Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, where he oversaw the prosecution of high-profile criminal cases. Mayorkas was a member of the presidential transition team for Barack Obama before he assumed office in January 2009, where he led the transition team responsible for the U.S. Department of Justice Criminal Division. Mayorkas was appointed by President Obama as the Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration on May 20th, 2009. The nomination was received by the Senate on August 7th. Let me scroll down here, looking for what I wanted to. He implemented the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals process in 60 days. He led U.S. government efforts to rescue orphan children following the January 2010 earthquake in Haiti, and led the advancement of Crime Victims Unit that for the first time resulted in the ability of the agency to administer the statutory, and it pretty much says statutory rules that lets them take the kids and put them in child care here in the United States. So some more trafficked after the Haiti earthquake. I was going through some of these headlines and articles and whatnot to see more about what this monster did here in Haiti. And I found an interesting article just to show you guys, if some of y'all think that, I know most of us know that Haiti was and is the elite's candy world, candy land, whatever you want to call it. They're like their candy store, kids in a candy store there. They love them some Haiti kids. They like the dark-skinned melatonin kids, apparently. It produces the better adrenochrome is what I hear. I don't know. So many Haiti orphanages run by child traffickers, says J.K. Rowling's charity. So after the 2010 Haiti earthquake that killed more than 300,000 people, she said many parents were being tricked or coerced into giving. So this is all with that one Yorkas guy, because he was in charge of picking up these people from the orphanages, which were child traffickers. Many Haiti orphanages run by child traffickers, says J.K. Rowling's charity. So this is from London, Thomas Reuters Foundation. 4 in 5 children living in Haiti's orphanages have at least one living parent and are sold or given to the homes on false promises of an education or medical care, according to a charity founded by British author J.K. Rowling. Now, you know who else does that? It was the LeBaron family. The family that got killed by the cartel, supposedly, which I think was actually a United States operation. It was Trump saving these children. But they were sending Mexican locals, women, to the rich elite in New York on the promise of a better education and all that. So anyway, London-based charity Lumo said many orphanages in the poor Caribbean nation were run by enterprising traffickers who starved and beat children to attract sympathy and money from well-intentioned donors. Yeah, right. When people heard the word orphanage, they imagine that it's a good thing or they imagine that it's necessary. Lumo's chief executive, Georgette Mulcair, told the Thomson Reuters Foundation on Tuesday. And that's their gig. That's how they get away, operate in plain sight, Never mind the fact that they created all these situations. Now, there's some rumor that Haiti, the earthquake, was caused by HAARP, a weather modification, where they bounce a bunch of ions into the outer sphere, the inner sphere, whatever, and it bounces back a lot of energy and it creates earthquakes. They say they even did that in Japan to that nuclear thing. They were blackmailing them. So anyway, they do not imagine that so many orphanages are actually trafficking, beating, sexually abusing, and starving children. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake that killed more than 300,000 people, she said many parents were being tricked or coerced into giving their children to orphanages. So we also heard about that Laura Silsby. You remember her, right? We'll talk about her in a minute. But entrepreneurial people have seen that foreigners love giving money to orphanages. And because of that, they just set them up and they pay child finders to recruit children, Mulcair said. So I think that's somewhat true, but it goes a little bit more sinister and deeper than that. So such child finders track down poor families and convince them to give up their children or offer to pay for prenatal care of pregnant women and take their child as a form of repayment, she said. There are about 3,200 children living across 760 orphanages in Haiti, but only 15% of those institutions are officially registered, Lumo said in a report. It said children living in Haiti's orphanages are more likely to be trafficked or go missing due to the lack of official records. So that's a lot of kids that are just, it's like a candy land. You know what I'm saying? It's been a really hidden crime against children, and it's happening in lots of developing countries. So it's not really a hidden crime. It's hidden by the media, but not by people that, are trying to save these kids. We are trying. It's hard when you don't have the reach and you get your channels deleted every couple of days. If you don't know, the Theorizing Theorist the channel was deleted today. So anyway, it's been a really hidden crime against children, and it's happening in lots of developing nations, said Mulcair, who launched the report at the European Parliament in Brussels. Experts say cases of human trafficking after a disaster are common as survivors are driven to desperate measures after losing their homes, belongings, and means of earning money. People need to recognize that this entrepreneurial, I forgot the quotation marks, approach to orphanages is actually trafficking. The people who do this need to be prosecuted so that fewer people will think that this is a good way of making money. Well, only the poor will get prosecuted and the rich will just walk away with the children and cash in hand. So there's all the information about the person who wrote this. Feel free to write to her and whatever. It's really disappointing and sad stuff to see that this is who's in charge. But like I said, I hope it's Trump luring and saving these kids. And I think that is what the case is, because we all know the White House, no one's there. Trafficked after the Haiti earthquake, a child's story. Oh, we already saw this. Let me see. Where is Laura Silsby now? Silsby changed her name to Laura Gaylor and now works as the VP of Marketing for Alert Sense, a company that issues Amber Alerts. My heart is with the people of Haiti, mine too. Here's the rest of that one part. The ability of the agency to administer the statutory maximum number of visas to victims of crime. So I guess it wasn't the child protective to welfare or whatever. But anyway, so now we're getting back to this. I just wanted to get real quick away so we could talk about the Haiti thing. So back to this. In 2016, Mayorkas became a partner at the law firm of Wilmer Cutler, Pickering, Hell, and Dorr. And then it just goes on to talk about Joe Biden picked him. And it was endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. So if that means anything to you, I don't know. But it's also George W. Bush, Janet Napolitano. I don't know who this Jed Johnson is. But he was sworn in by Vice President Kamala Harris. And he's supposedly the first Latino to lead the department, which, I'm telling you, this is bad news. This is bad news. Every Mexican knows that fellow Hispanics are the worst when it comes to border patrol and stuff like that. So anyway, early life and education. We already went over this too. Oh, no, we didn't. Alejandro Nicolas Mayorkas, nicknamed Ali, was born in Havana, Cuba on November 24, 1959. His parents arrived with him and his sister to the United States in 1960 as refugees following the Cuban Revolution. He lived in Miami, Florida before his family moved to Los Angeles, California, where he was raised for the remainder of his youth. Mayorkas grew up in Beverly Hills and attended Beverly Hills High School. Pretty swanky, huh? His father, Charles R. Nicky Mayorkas, was a Cuban Jew of Turkish, Sephardic, and Polish Azerhansky, whatever, background who owned and operated a steel wool factory in Havana. His mother, Anita Gabor, was a Romanian Jew whose family escaped the Holocaust and fled to Cuba. Blah, 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 blah. Let me know if any of this stuff sparks your interest or shoots up a red flag. University of California at Berkeley. He received his Juris Doctor from Loyola. What's a Juris Doctor? I'm not sure. But again, let me know if any of this stuff, shoots off any red flags, like, obviously the Dianne Feinstein. In 1998, Mayorkas was recommended by Senator Dianne Feinstein and appointed by President Bill Clinton as the United States Attorney for the Central District of California, becoming the country's youngest United States Attorney. He was appointed in December 21st, 1998. And then it talks about how he took down the Mexican mafia, which, if you don't know, was very crucial to building MS-13, which is the Democratic hit squad of their hit squad, their hit team. That's what they use. So more stuff about Children Community Center. He disappeared some other kids, it looks like. And and he saved this narcotics trafficker, which we all know narcotics traffickers also traffic children. He saved him and commuted him and did all that stuff. So it just goes to show you this guy's a scumbag, right? No bueno dude here. In September, no, we're not going to read that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, frequently asked questions regarding unaccompanied children. Now, this is from the official Office of Refugee Settlement, and these are the people that are in between Health and Human Services and Department of Homeland Security. So they protect children, also known as unaccompanied children. They include both children who enter the country without their parent or legal guardian and children who, for other reasons, have been separated from their parent or legal guardian. From some reason, because they separate them. They say, oh, you ain't a good enough parent. You're whatever. You don't have. They make them go through these like tests. In recent days, there has been a great deal of misinformation about the UC program. The misinformation and intentional perpetuation of it is a disservice to the hundreds of caseworkers and case providers. And that's true. I think a lot of them are some good people, but there's just a couple, and that's all they need. They don't need everyone to be in on it. Why is HHS caring for children separated from the parents? When a child who has entered the country illegally and is not accompanied by a parent or legal guardian, he or she is considered an unaccompanied child and must be transferred. So how did 20,000 kids get to the border on their own? HHS is legally required to provide care for all children until they are released to a suitable sponsor. Almost always a parent or close relative. Almost. While they await immigration proceedings, these children can also leave HHS care if they return to their home countries, achieve 18 years of age, or gain legal immigration status. The same procedure applies for children who have been separated from parents due to criminality or jeopardy, or when the parent is detained to await trial or convicted of a criminal offense and must serve time in federal custody. So they look for these kids that they can separate, that they can disappear. Is there a system for keeping parents and children connected if they are separated for immigration? Yes, of course. Yes, we keep them connected. When adults and minors are apprehended by immigration authorities, their information is entered into government databases by which their cases can be tracked. So how do we not have the parents of all these children? If you go and look, they say that these children were there, that we already had them, but we kind of made them stay in, and we separated them from their parents because their parents were here, and they made it sound like, anyway. All minors in HHS care are assigned case managers. In the circumstances of children whose parents are in federal custody, the case managers are in contact with the parents, ICE case managers, ICE agents, and other federal law enforcement officials in order to verify their relationship and put the parents and children in communication. U.S. Public Health Service Commission court officers and other resource staff have been deployed to DH facilities to assist parents in communicating with their children. In reality, assist with separating them from their children. HHS has long provided resources for parents, including those in DHS custody, to communicate with their children in HHS care. Parents or guardians attempting to determine if their child is in HHS care should contact the ORR National Call Center at 1-800-203-7001 or via email at the information at orrncc.com. And I say this stuff because if you guys know anybody or want to share this information, please do. There's 20,000 children without parents out there. They're orphans. Apparently, we just had about 40,000 adults murdered or disappeared. And HHS confident that this large number of children and parents dispersed across the country can be connected and reunited. So yeah, they are with proper sponsors. They're just trying to make it sound like they're doing what's right, but in reality, you could already tell these 20,000 kids that are going to be at the border by the end of this month. 3,000 was it? 500 a day. They're not trying. They're not even trying. They're already looking for, and they're excusing me. There's too many of them, and they might get some with their parents, but the ones that are vulnerable, they're going to find out of all those kids the ones that they can disappear. The ones that they could sacrifice, the ones that they could eat, the ones that they could violate, the ones that they could put to be maids and slaves, and or worse, tortured, sex trafficked and tortured. It's crazy. The facilities are operated by nonprofit grantees that are certified by state authorities responsible for regulating such facilities housing children. Now you'll see that to volunteer at these places, you have to be on like this special list and you got to get approved, which I get it. You're working with the kids. You want to have all that in place, but it begs the question if they're not, it takes a community to raise a kid. Why would you just pick a small group of people, a handful of people to raise and be in charge of, the future of thousands and thousands of kids? It doesn't make any sense. They should be surrounded by adults at all times to show them that they're safe, never left alone with a single adult, of course, but surrounded in a sense. So anyway, here's their facilities. To me, it'd be easy to walk a freaking pedo in there that's on the end and have them have their way with the children that can't speak proper English or whatever, are under the control already, let's just say. More than 50 separate media outlets have toured the HHS-funded UC facilities. There are restrictions on what kind of media coverage is possible due to the need for privacy regarding children in our care. HHS is committed to transparency around our work with children and has also made available photos and videos of facilities housing boys and girls taken recently and dating back to 2016, demonstrating continuity of care across the administration. So it's funny how they started doing that in 2016. Before that, they didn't care. Before that, they were just disappearing kids, More than 70 members of Congress and more than 60 congressional staff members toured HHS-funded UC facilities in June 2018. HHS is working with relevant authorities in Congress to regularly schedule more tours based on the availability of the facilities. So you get what that is, right? Those ones that are touring, keep an eye on those guys. Those are probably the ones that are sneaking into the rooms real quick through the back doors and getting the hookup with the little kids, So that's all I really have for you in regards to this. Well, let's see here. Why doesn't HHS quickly find the family members, including parents? We are determined to do everything we can to ensure we release the children to safe and suitable sponsors. That's what I wanted to show you in this part. Isn't that crazy? They don't have any shame. They do background checks on the parents. Anything, they try to find anything they can do to separate these parents from their kids. Oh, you have you're facing drunk drinking and driving in Mexico charge. Our kids now. Could you imagine? It's crazy to me. I don't know. I can't read no more. I'm getting a little tired of reading all this. If you guys want to pause it and read it, please go and check out their website for yourself. Maybe email them, let them know that we're watching their kids, we're watching what they're doing, and maybe even volunteer if you can. I think I have some links to volunteer to be a sponsor of some of these kids. We need good people like I know my cartel members are, and we need good people like us taking care of these kids. I would if I was in a position to, but I'm not. But if you guys are, maybe consider trying to, even if we could just save one of these kids from the clutches of these freaking monsters. It's better than none. So anyway, as you can see, I'm just going to stop this part here. I'm done reading this stuff here. So we'll just go over how can individuals or communities help. Members of the public have expressed interest in donating or volunteering to help unaccompanied children. The federal agencies supporting these facilities are unable to accept donations or volunteers to assist the unaccompanied children program. However, there are several voluntary community, faith-based, or international organizations assisting unaccompanied children. You can find resources and contacts in your state at the following online addresses. So you can't even volunteer. Only you got to be special. The FY18 appropriation for this program is $1.3 billion. Can I foster or adopt one or more of the unaccompanied children? We have grantees in various parts of the United States who care for a small number of unaccompanied children in foster homes, and many providers are looking to expand their number of foster parents, particularly ones who are bilingual, or requires that all foster care parents be fully licensed by their state. If you are not already licensed, you could begin by contacting one of the foster care providers who care for unaccompanied children, such as the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, who have provided foster care to unaccompanied refugee and immigrant children for many years. I just don't get why religions have to... I get it, but I don't get it. From any child or third party, the care provider must immediately follow up to ensure all children and youth are safe and provided with appropriate services, and that all required reports to OR and outside entities are completed. How often does sexual abuse occur in OR care? Care providers report to the FBI any allegations. Sexual abuse could include butt touching, and so it says there's about 264 reported allegations, and we know that those go very, very underreported because people are ashamed, embarrassed, scared. So the fact that 250 people could have came out in a year or whatever it was shows you that that's a lot of rapes happening, a lot of assaults happening in the care in the care of these foster people. So we know that it's true. That's just the ones that they're reporting. What about the ones that are disappearing? Oh, it's a runaway. Go look at the Walmart wall of runaways, missing kids. How many of those do you think came out of foster care and are just missing now? That's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please check the description to support this channel, and also subscribe to the other channels that are there. You guys know the routine. As always, to God be the glory.